All right, the 2025 Nobel Prizes are in, and wow, they're not just about celebrating cool discoveries, they're basically handing us a brand new toolkit to reshape our world. We're talking about everything from rewriting the fundamental laws of physics to recoding the rulebook of life itself. We're going to break down the breakthroughs that are literally going to define our future. So let's dive in. Because you got to understand, these prizes aren't just some fancy trophies sitting on a shelf. Nope. They are answers to some of the biggest, most fundamental questions we face. They point to the ideas that are right now rewriting our future. So what are the game-changing ideas this year? Okay, first up, we're diving deep into the physical world. I mean, the winners in physics and chemistry have figured out how to manipulate matter at its most basic levels, in ways that honestly used to be pure science fiction. So, to really get the physics prize, you have to wrap your head around two totally different sets of rules. In our world, the everyday world, everything's run by classical physics. You throw a ball at a wall, but not hard enough, it hits the wall, bounces back. Simple, right? But down in the tiny, super bizarre world of quantum physics, a particle can sometimes just show up on the other side of the wall. This kinda spooky thing, it's called quantum tunneling. See, in the quantum world, you never know a particle's exact location. It's more like a cloud of probabilities. So there's this tiny, non-zero chance that when it hits a barrier, it'll just pop out on the other side. It's almost like the particle dug a secret tunnel through a wall it didn't have the energy to climb over. Now, this whole tunneling effect for a single particle, we've known about that for a while. It's actually used in stuff like the SSD storage in your phone. But here's the big, seemingly impossible problem. How on earth do you get billions of particles to tunnel through a barrier at the exact same time? The odds of that happening randomly are, well, they're like winning the lottery a million times in a row. It just doesn't happen. While this year's laureates, they found the secret. See, to get billions of particles to act as one, you can't just cross your fingers and hope for a coincidence. You have to fundamentally change what they are. And the key? It lies in something called Cooper pairs. And this is where physics gets, well, really weird. Normally, electrons are total individualists. They absolutely refuse to be in the same state as each other. But if you get things super, super cold inside a superconductor, they team up. These Cooper pairs do the exact opposite. They love to be identical. Billions of them can sync up into the exact same quantum state, basically behaving like one single giant superparticle that can tunnel all at once. And let me be clear, this is not just some cool physics trick for the lab. This is a massive breakthrough for the future of computing. The ability to control a huge, unified quantum state like this, that's the key to building stable, powerful qubits, which are the absolute heart of a quantum computer. Now, this idea of building with fundamental particles connects perfectly to the chemistry prize, which went to the inventors of something called metal organic frameworks, or MOFs. The easiest way to think of them is like molecular Legos. Seriously, you've got metal atoms that act as the corner pieces and organic molecules for the connecting rods. This lets you build custom 3D structures with incredibly specific properties. So where does this get really powerful? Well, take carbon capture. Because you can custom design these things, you can build a MOAF with these little internal pockets that are perfectly shaped to just grab CO2 molecules right out of the air. It works like a super specific molecular sponge. And once that sponge is full, you can squeeze out the CO2 for permanent storage. And that's just scratching the surface. This ability to design molecular cages on demand just opens up a whole universe of possibilities. I mean, you can design MOFs to pull fresh water straight out of desert air, to safely store tricky gases like hydrogen for fuel, or even for delivering drugs to a very specific target inside the body. It's a true game-changing technology. Okay, so we've rewired the physical world. Now let's shift gears and look at the incredibly complex systems that govern us, our own bodies and our global economy. Here, the prizes in medicine and economics are all about revealing the hidden rules that control our health and our prosperity. The story of the medicine prize kicks off with a really terrifying question. You know, our immune system is our greatest defender. It's our personal army. But what happens when its most sophisticated weapons get turned against our own cells? Well, that's exactly what happens in an autoimmune disease. You've got these helper T cells that are supposed to act like scouts. Their job is to find invaders and then call in the heavy hitters, the killer T cells. But sometimes they just get it completely wrong. They basically become snitches, falsely accusing your own healthy cells and triggering this devastating friendly fire attack. For decades, scientists knew the body had this central training academy to try and weed out these faulty helper T cells before they got deployed. But some always slipped through the cracks. Well, this year's laureates discovered the body's second line of defense, a dedicated group of peacekeepers out there patrolling our system. They are called regulatory T cells, or TREGs, and you can think of them as the immune system's internal affairs department. Their entire job is to patrol the body, find those overzealous helper T cells that are about to sound a false alarm, and just tell them to stand down. They are, quite literally, the police who police the police. And this discovery, it hands us this incredible therapeutic control switch. For an autoimmune disease where the system is too aggressive, we can develop drugs to boost the TREGs and calm everything down. But, and this is amazing, if we do the opposite and block the TREGs, we can unleash the immune system to attack things it would normally ignore, like cancer cells. And finally, we get to economics, and a puzzle that has defined all of human history. For thousands and thousands of years, life for the average person didn't really improve. You had these massive inventions like the printing press, but they didn't really change economic well-being. And then, right around the Industrial Revolution, something just broke. The growth curve suddenly went vertical. This year's Nobel laureates finally explained why. So, according to the first half of this year's prize, the answer lies in the collision of two very different kinds of knowledge. For centuries, you had craftsmen who had practical knowledge. They knew what worked, just through trial and error. And then you had scientists with theoretical knowledge. They knew why things worked. The Industrial Revolution was the very first time these two groups started talking to each other and really collaborating. This collaboration created this incredible feedback loop that unleashed the engine of all modern growth, a concept called creative destruction. The idea is that you compete not by just making your rival's product a little bit cheaper, but by inventing something so much better that it makes their product totally obsolete. I mean, think about it. The iPhone didn't just compete with Nokia, it made the old flip phone completely irrelevant. But this brings up a huge question. How do you keep that engine of innovation running? Well, the laureates showed there's a really delicate balance. If you have too little competition, you get stagnation. A monopoly has no reason to innovate. But too much competition is also a killer. Why would you invest millions in risky new ideas if your competitor is just going to copy you instantly? The key to all our progress is finding that perfect sweet spot right in the middle. So, from controlling the quantum world to building with molecular Legos, from directing our own immune system to steering the very engine of innovation, the 2025 Nobels have given us this incredible new toolkit. The only question left is, of course, the most important one, with all these new powers, what kind of future are we going to choose to build?